right, folks, welcome to the post-race show for the Racing Carolina 250, round 9 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series Season 3. Jordy Carraher here once again, and there was quite a bit of chaos, which, I mean, that's to be expected from the track that's been deemed too tough to tame, but the man dancing with the lady in black here at the end was the number 97 Tornado Alley E-Racing Chevy of Ty Higginbotham out of Kansas City, Missouri. Second win of the year. Higgy, welcome back.
Good to be back, Jordy. Appreciate it.
All right, so as I mentioned off the top, obviously a lot of things went down here tonight, but somehow you're the one who wound up kind of surviving and thriving there at the end, which we'll get to a little bit later. But in the first, say, stage and a half, like, what was kind of the biggest thing that you were doing to just kind of stay out of the chaos as much as anything else?
Yeah, Darlington is 184 laps of being patient. I mean, the race last year there, it was I took a lot from that race and put it into this week's race there, and it was more of just trying to keep the car clean and taking the time because it's unbelievably hard to pass, and you don't want to ruin anybody's race in the first stage of a 184 lap race. So it was more just taking care of my car and making moves when I knew I could, and making sure I could get to stage two in a reasonably good spot once I got my adjustments into my car and was able to move up front.
Yeah, and that kind of segues into what I was going to ask you about next. Obviously, we talked about, how things went in sort of the early portion of the race, but things definitely seemed to turn right around that second pit window. It seemed like you were practically unbeatable after that. So, yeah, ultimately, what do you think changed? You mentioned a couple of adjustments, but it seemed like, things just kind of fell your way from there on top of everything that you were doing.
So yeah, it was. I definitely put the adjustments in for the long run. Darlington, you can start breaking loose there in turn two pretty quickly within the run once you pit. And that's what I kind of set my car up to, was having that long run speed. And, the first 10, 12 laps, I would just let people go that I knew had faster cars at the beginning, because my car was just not able to turn as well as others in the beginning of, the run. So once my car was kicked in around 15, 20 laps, and once, the long run kept going, I felt like my car was just able to stick out of the exits and just, be able to take off and go from there. And I was also kind of lucky with some incidents that happened through stage two and stage three, and was able to pull away there. So it was definitely, I felt like I had a good car for sure, but there was some luck on the side as well.
Yeah, as I say, obviously a lot of things went down tonight, but ultimately, again, you pulled out the victory and were pulling away late. I believe it was a 7.5 second margin of victory for you here tonight. So obviously, being in that situation, it presents, a couple of different options there. Obviously, you're getting closer to the checkered flag, but in that situation, knowing the kind of margin that you had and the margin that you were reporting to us in race control all the way through, I guess the question there, obviously, Darlington sort of forces you into this a little bit, but what was kind of the biggest challenge for you in terms of, just trying to maintain your focus around that particular track, knowing that pretty well anything could happen at any given time?
Yeah, I mean, I P. Cola was in second place, and he tried to he tried to undercut there to get some time back, and that's what I did in stage two to get from like sixth or seventh to be able to get the lead. And I knew he had a fast car, and I knew, you know, we kind of had the same setup and everything. So he he was putting a little bit of pressure, and then something happened. We were on a chat together, and something happened, and I forgot what it was. But after that, I just kind of tried to keep my cool and hit my spots, and it's all about just trying to maintain this car and make sure you don't hit the wall, because once you hit the wall on the outside, it slows you way down. You lose control of your car. So I was just making sure I wasn't hitting that wall or that turn two glitch. There's a glitch there that'll put you into the wall as well. So, yeah, it was just about keeping my focus, hitting my spots, and I wasn't really trying to extend the lead or anything. Once I got to about 4 or 5 seconds, I was just trying to maintain that and get around lap traffic.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of the challenges and perils of that over the course of the evening as well. I think there was one situation where we saw about 10 or 11 cars trying to navigate one corner about halfway through. So, definitely not the easiest thing to do, but it sort of leads to the next thing that I want to ask you about, because if you look at the resume of wins that you've built up over the last couple of years, not only is there obviously Darlington tonight, but there's obviously Iowa earlier this season and then Martinsville toward the end of last year. So, what is it about these shorter, tighter tracks that seems to really work for you?
I can't really answer that. I mean, uh, I feel like it's just um, I, maybe it's just the way I drive my car. I let out and don't use my right front as much. I don't use my brake as much as some of the other drivers do. So I can have that right front and right rear, later in the runs. And I think it's just being able to have that late run, uh, long run speed that's able to, kind of decipher, get you through those corners and stuff like that late in the runs. And then, um, like you said, Martinsville, Iowa, Darlington, um, those tracks you tend to get loose later in the run, and having that traction really helps. And I think that's what I try to focus on when I practice, when I'm able to, and just making sure I can get back into the gas sooner than the other drivers can. And I guess that's how it's kind of fallen down to the table there, and being able to get me those wins. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's been, something that's been really kind of cool to watch over the last year plus there as well. Obviously, the Martinsville race practically lapping the field. They're almost did it tonight. I believe just 6 cars ended up on the lead lap. But again, seems to be kind of working out for you here. And obviously, this is win number 2 of the season now. And I think we're about 3 or 4 races removed from the Iowa victory now. So obviously, headed into the regular season finale. Obviously, nice to have a bit of momentum there now with obviously Talladega looming and the playoffs on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being able to get playoff points, is huge. And I think I was only able to accrue like one stage win all of last year. So being able to get, those 2 stage wins this year in 9 races is huge. I mean, it comes down to just 1 or 2 points. So having those 2 extra playoff points will be huge. And Talladega is a free for all; anybody can win there. So I think it's just going to be one of those races where if I see an opportunity, I'll take it. But it's just going to be about making sure I keep the car clean and have respect for the other drivers that are trying to make it into the playoffs, and letting those guys battle it out next week.
Yeah, and it should be an eventful one there. Next week's Crack Device Company 250, as mentioned, from Talladega Superspeedway. That'll go down next Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. But you touched on something there that I hadn't really considered, and it'll be the last question before I let you take off here. You talked obviously about, you know, just what kind of differences there were in terms of picking up your playoff points. What do you think is sort of the biggest factor in, you know, you having a little bit more success maybe a little bit earlier in the season than it kind of came last year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the last year I was a rookie and I was just trying to get, used to driving around all the guys and learning their style of driving. I didn't want to make any, aggressive moves that would, possibly put me on the bad side of the spectrum, racing them. And then you always want to be on the good side of everyone, especially when you're racing with them. So I think just gaining the respect of everyone has really helped me this year. And, like there was a moment in tonight's race, Darcy was faster than me. I pulled over and let him go. And then later on in the race, I was faster than Darcy. He pulled over and let me go. So it's just gaining that respect, I think. And then, I have to point it out, and that Tornado Alley finishing 1, 2, 3 tonight is just insane and crazy. And I think racing and being in the chat with Leo and Piccola has just been so helpful throughout the year. Piccola's a master at the road course. Hearing his tips and stuff like that at the road course has helped me tremendously there. I don't think I got but one top 10 in the road courses last year. And then Sauce is just excellent at the ovals and, getting good runs there. So I think us three being a team has helped me personally tremendously. And just being able to race another year with everyone and knowing how they race as well. That was kind of a rambling answer, Jordy. Sorry, but
No, it's all good.
but
Because,
yeah,
I mean, the results kind of speak for themselves at this point. Obviously, 7 wins in 9 races for that particular trio. And now I think moving forward, you'll probably have some guys trying to learn and watch your style as we go along. So we'll see how that progresses. And again, congratulations on the win tonight, number 2 on the season. And here's to maybe seeing you again or talking to you again, maybe a couple of more times as we work our way into the playoffs.
Yeah, thanks, Jordy. Hoping I speak to you again as well.
And lights out, it's go! He's going to get ahead of McCauley into turn 1. Cody Cudmore with a great start. The winner of the Centennial Autosport and Tire Spanish Grand Prix is Darcy Ford. McCauley's gotten a good start off the line, but it looks like Darcy Ford's gotten up into second. Italian Grand Prix is underway. Go, go, go down that start-finish straight. And he's got it! Cody Cudmore with an absolute stunner at the end. Stealing pole position. Here goes your winner, the 5190 Racing Bugatti of Jason Butler, your champion of the Formula One Series, Corbin McCauley.
Daniel Cudmore, he wins Season 2 of the Formula One Series.